everyone. This is Pat Foley. We're continuing our interview series with experts in the world of youth sports about what's happening in college recruiting during the COVID-19 crisis. Today, full disclosure, usually most of the people that I've been interviewing, I don't know, I've never met, but I'm going to be talking to Colleen Magarity today. My daughters play for her terrific program, Triple H Lacrosse, here in the Philadelphia area. Colleen has a really great background herself in athletics or lacrosse rather as a player. She was a two-time All-American at Northwestern. Anybody who knows lacrosse knows that Northwestern is one of the elite programs in the country. And I think she's one of the more knowledgeable people about recruiting that we're going to get to talk to, because she is a high school coach. She runs the girls program for William Penn Charter School here in Philadelphia. And then she runs just a tremendously well-respected club program. And we know from being in this program that she takes the recruiting side of it very seriously and is really involved in the recruiting. So with that, Colleen, why don't you tell us a little bit about Triple H?
Great. Thank you for the little bio. I still get, embarrassed when I get talked about. So I came back. I graduated Northwestern in 2011. Then I coached a little college at University of Colorado, which helped with my recruiting background. And then I started Triple H in 2015. And my main thing that I loved was I loved the recruiting side of college coaching. So I was like, oh, I really enjoy getting to know this connection. So that's where it kind of helped me, start to realize what I want to do for the rest of my life is why I wanted to be a club coach and help get these kids to the best spots that they see fit. And I noticed that in the club world, at least when I was playing, there weren't as many advocates. There was just kind of, club programs where you'd play, but not as many advocates, like really trying to get these kids to the right spot for them, because there's so many different colleges out there, and they just keep adding programs, but hopefully that continues. I don't know. There's a little bit maybe of a change right now with COVID-19. But so I kind of started Triple H with just 3 teams, then we grew to 5 teams. Now we're at 8 teams, and we'll stop at 8 teams. So we'll never get bigger than that, for the sole reason of my authenticity to give the girls my best self to help them get recruited. If I could duplicate myself or find someone that I would love, to partner with and have B teams, I would do that. But I just think it's nice just to get to know, all of the kids and really help them with their process.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it is a critical thing, especially I think now with COVID going on. That is one of the aspects of the impact on recruiting, I think, is that having a coach or a club, whether a club or a high school coach that's really helping you in the recruiting process might have even more weight right now, because the college coaches need to rely on relationships because they're not going to have the same amount of video that they had. They're not going to have the same amount of exposure at tournaments. So I think that side of it is probably more important than ever.
Yeah, 100%. I think just having the ability to pick up my phone, and I think it's crazy at Northwestern. I think I have 20 teammates that are now D1 college coaches or a part of it. So just in my team alone, and then I played pro. So I have a lot of people that I've played with and just met when I was college coaching. So just really getting them seen, getting my girls seen is my main thing. So it's not like you're going to call someone and convince someone to take someone. They still need to see them, but at least you're putting them in a type of environment to be seen and be like, all right, that kid I'm supposed to watch.
Right.
Where sometimes, there's thousands of girls there and you only have 3 games. It's hard to see everybody.
Sure. What are you hearing right now? And it's been interesting to talk to people in different sports in different parts of the country, because the rollout dates are going to be very, very different. What are you hearing as to what this summer is going to look like?
In my honest opinion, I'm usually like a glass half full type of person. I don't think there's going to be any tournaments. I'm on the AD calls every week, and just what we're talking about with getting school back in September, that's the priority. So I don't think, at least every area might be different, but we use schools to practice, and so do most people. And a lot of the big tournaments are at schools because there's lots of fields. So I just think there's going to be a lack of fields for people to use.
Right.
And then if we can start to do things, it might be still socially distanced, which does not involve a lacrosse game.
Right.
So I think we might get out on the field, hopefully, in groups of 10 to 20, and it keeps getting more and more. But I just don't think tournaments are going to happen. With that being said, I've told my 22s right now, and it actually works out. The 23s aren't even being focused on at all yet because the
Sure.
22s are going to have a slower process. But I've told my 22s just to, one, I got their lists and I make sure I have who their top 5 are and what their next 15 are. And I'm going to do my due diligence of just reaching out to the coaches so they know that this person likes them. It's a two-way street, which a lot of people forget.
Mhm.
And then just making sure, like, all right, do you have film on them from any of our tournaments this fall and summer? If not, I can get you some. And then I had the girls also just do some backyard workouts to film so that the coaches can be like, I do like the way that girl moves. It might not get her a call on September 1 to offer a scholarship, but it's, all right, you're on our list.
Yep.
And that kind of goes to the next thing, that September 1 is supposed to be the date where they start their relationship. I think that will still happen, but the process is going to be so much slower. Because
Yeah.
if there's tournaments, then everything's just going to be pushed back. I know that the colleges have tried to maybe see if we can get a January 1 date instead of September 1, which will be helpful for the kids. Or NCAA is just going to tell them just to slow down themselves. The date's not going to change, but it's on you guys to be responsible, and you guys make it slower by not moving forward with the 22s
Right.
as fast as you normally would.
Right. And I mean, the one positive, and you mentioned the 2022s, because that's sort of the sweet spot of recruiting where a lot of it goes on, and the top players are really, that's their year. I guess the good news is that all the kids are in the same boat. It's not like that the coaches know that they don't have the data,
Yeah,
and so either they're going to be making a decision based on lack of data, or they're also going to want to slow things down a little bit so they can get that look at the player.
exactly. It's a two-way street. They need
Yeah,
players and they need homes. So it's
right.
not like one. I actually kind of compare it to when the 2020s were going through this process. They went through it where half the group went super early, and then there was like the change of recruiting, so the other half had to wait a year and a half.
Right.
That was harder because it was like one group kind of went early and they committed, and then the other group couldn't. So this is easier because everyone's in the same boat. We're all in this together, and and I think they're going to make a dead period for the whole summer, which
Okay.
will
So you don't even
alleviate.
think August? You don't think they'll try to do something in August?
I think if we have tournaments, it'll be film based. Like we will film and then send the film to the
Oh,
coach.
okay.
Yeah. So right now, August is a dead period, and I was speaking with one of my good friends, and she was like, "I doubt they change August. Like we fought to get August as a dead period. They're not
Right.
gonna like change it just to go back next year."
Right.
So she was saying that you could still have tournaments, but it's just gonna be mainly film based. Like you have to send the film to the college coaches.
Okay.
Um, and now you're watching colleges like Notre Dame like go back early. Do you know what I mean? So they're going back August 10th. So those colleges can't go recruit as much if they're worrying about their own student athletes.
Yeah.
So
Do you think there's going to be much of an impact, or the extra year of eligibility? Do you think that'll be kind of a minimal impact, or do you think that'll take a lot of spots?
I think it's going to be very situational to the school. It might impact a place like North Carolina and
Hmm.
Boston College because they're, desirable schools, and they're good, and people are attracted to go there, and they have good grad programs.
Yeah.
I think it's going to have the biggest impact this year on just roster size. Like your
Yeah.
rosters are going to be bigger. In my opinion, I think less juniors, sophomores, and freshmen in college are going to take that extra year after they've completed their full spring season. It's
Right.
much easier to say I'm going to come back when you didn't have that season, as
Yeah.
opposed to like grinding out like for the full year. I
Yeah.
remember my last game, I was like, I'm so happy we won, but I'm ready to graduate. Like I'm ready to move on.
Honestly, I didn't realize that. I thought they were only giving the year of eligibility to the seniors who missed the season. All 4 years.
All for.
Oh, wow. Okay. But to
Yeah,
your point, I do think you would have to be, in a really top program, and I mean,
yeah,
most kids are going to move on with their lives at that point, I would think.
exactly. Or
Uh,
have a job lined up that they're like had an internship that led into one. And it also, you need to fit those people into the same 12 scholarships. So it's
right,
not like you got given more money to use.
right,
And what coaches were saying, they can't just not recruit any 22s and take the juniors, because at one point those juniors are gone and you need that senior class.
right,
So
right.
it's like you need to have that balance. You can't just take 3 22s and bring back 5 of your juniors, because one, they might change their mind,
Yeah,
and two, they could get injured or be like, I'm going to go take a job instead. And then also, you need to have a senior class at one point with the 22s when they become seniors.
yeah. Are you
Yeah.
hearing anything, speaking of monies and budgets, are you hearing anything about cutbacks at the college level?
Um,
What that might look
yeah.
like?
So fortunately, I've been talking to a lot of high end programs like Northwesterns and Michigans that, are very well off.
Yeah.
So what they've been told is just they really have to be conscious of like budget cutting, whether, you're taking one less away trip, you're taking, you're not going on a big fall trip at all. You're only inter squad scrimmaging.
Mhm.
When you go to California, you're playing both your California games. You're not going back and forth, twice in one season. So
Right.
little things like and then there might just be some internal, like salary cuts here and there, or however they can help alleviate some of the financial burden on the universities, because they're definitely going to take a hit, and everything depends on football and basketball. So I think they'll do
On
everything
the
they can
revenue.
to get
Yep.
the
Yep.
point.
And
Yeah.
there's,
So
there's very little. That's going to be interesting to watch that play out, because first of all, they have to allow it, and then you have to have people willing to do it. Which
yeah,
I guess that'll really boil down to the medical side of things, and if there's a vaccine, and then you might see the biggest year ever in
for
terms of
sure.
people just
Yeah.
get me out of here. Give
I
me
know, right? I know. I would just want to go watch sports. I'm like, I don't
right.
care.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But it'll be interesting. I think the PLL is doing something interesting this summer. They're like taking all of their athletes and bringing them to a training camp, and they're streaming all of their games over 3 weeks. And
Uh,
then you have to pay for the games. So
okay.
it's pay-per-view. So I'm assuming that like college might do the same thing just to generate
Right.
money if
Yeah,
you can't
some revenue. Yeah.
the games. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I want to talk about, you have been doing a podcast series that's really interesting, Inside the Eight, where you're interviewing college coaches. I mean, that's why I knew you were going to be a great person to talk to, because you're really very tied in with the the coaches and the programs very directly. Tell us a little bit about that and where people can find it.
Yeah, so it's tied in with Jamie Monroe. He founded 3D Lacrosse out in Colorado, and he used to be the head coach at Denver for the men's program. So I met him when I was coaching at the University of Colorado, and he's just a big, he loves lacrosse. He just calls me all the time just to talk lacrosse. So one day he was like, "Hey, we should just record our conversations. I call you once a week." I was like, "Yeah, we should." And then he's like, "And you can just bring your friends on to talk with us." So I was like, all right, cool. That sounds great. So it's on just like your Apple podcast. You can just Google Inside the Eight and it'll come up his Lacrossify. Uh, that's like the headline. I'll put it on there for you guys for any listeners that can click it. But we've done about like 15 episodes so far. We've had a different coach each week. We actually have my former coach coming on next week, Kelly Monty from Northwestern. We've had the Harvard coach, Michigan coach, BC, North Carolina. We've had, everybody. We had Brown last week, who was super, super interesting to see,
That's awesome.
Ivy League compared to,
Yep. And
ACCs.
it's a great way to, one of the hard things about the college recruiting process is it is really hard to get a sense. That was really the whole genesis of recruitinginfo.com. It's a hard process to learn about coaches and programs without doing visiting the whole country, which of course right now is impossible. And you can get at least some sense of someone's personality by listening to them have a conversation in your podcast, and get a little bit of a feel for for what that person's like. So that's, I think, a really useful thing right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with just getting a sense of like what they, what they're feeling and how they're handling this. Where if you watch the one or listen to the one episode with Dana Dobie from Loyola, she's very like, she's going to be in Canada all summer. She's just like, kids, take a break, be kids. We need you as much as you need us, and the time will come,
Yep.
which was really like reassuring. I was like, that's a great point. Like, kids,
Yep.
relax, just be a kid maybe for the summer and
Yep.
not running around going to a million camps and tournaments. And maybe it's a blessing for everybody just to have like a relaxing summer, and then we'll get back into it, because we do both need each other. And then you're hearing, like, I talked to the Stanford coach and she was like, I'm going to just watch as much film as possible. Like, if your kids can make videos in the backyard, I'll be watching those.
Yep.
So that was her type of personality. So just learning kind of what they're doing individually is really helpful for me to tell my program, and for the listeners just to be like, I think it gives a sense of calm that those type of head coaches aren't freaking out. They're just caring about the safety and health of their own team and their families, and then time will come when they can get back recruiting.
Yeah, well, I can't wait till this is all over, and I'm sure you feel exactly the same. I think you've been doing a really good job with, I see firsthand that you've been doing a great job with the kids and keeping them engaged, and our girls they're hitting the bounce back with regularity. So
I bet you they are. Yeah, I've been trying to just keep them busy. I probably have been doing more now, like now that we're in this virus, than I would have if we weren't, because they would have been there with their team. But just trying to keep, I don't want them to get like sad. I want them to stay in shape, work out, and kind of just keep them engaged and as much as possible. And I've been doing this like gratefulness type of journaling with the younger girls, which I just want them to just try and find little things to be grateful for, because I'm sure they're just used to having everything. They could do everything they wanted all the time, like go outside and play with their friends, but you just don't get that right now.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you at a game at some point.
Hopefully on a field soon.
Yep. All right. Bye, Call.